The Florida Gators, in maybe the most Billy Napier way, dominated a game in which they didn't score in the second half and won by 11. Yeah, that's Billy Napier football.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. Let me get a chomp in the chat if you're here, which I see quite a few of you. Q, Harrison, Rob, what's up? Diego, how you doing? The Florida Gators are 3-2 right now, right? They've got a winning record heading into Tennessee, which Tennessee is currently up 1 over Arkansas. Arkansas has the ball. But Florida came into this game and just first off, Gus Malzahn did a weird thing where he allowed Florida to get the ball first. I thought that was an overconfident thing to do, just because Gus Malzahn typically wants ball, but let Florida have the ball at first. They drove downfield, beautiful drive. It was a great scripted drive. It kind of felt like last year's offense where we were like, okay, the scripted drives are really good. And then UCF scored a field goal, which ideally they don't score any points, but a field goal is a field goal. We'll take that. Then Florida punt, UCF turned over. It was an ugly football game. And that's the thing with me of I think that I'm someone who I'm totally cool celebrating a win as long as it's a win. A win is a win, and I'm happy with that. I've said, I just want to win some football games. That's it. That's all I want the Florida Gators to do is win some football games. However, I can acknowledge that Florida dominated this game not because they're so amazing, because UCF played like absolute dog Okay. Also, I know that there's someone talking about being mad that we upset UCF. All the upset means is that you were the underdog. UCF was favored in this game. So it's an upset, which yay. But Florida went into halftime up 24-3. And I also want to point out that I talked about this with the subtext group, which if you want to be a Locked On Gators insider, the link's in the description below, so you can join there. I effing hated that last drive for Florida before halftime. I hated it so much. You got the ball back with less than a minute. Like, I get it. Less than a minute, you can't do a ton. But Florida just went, all right, we're just gonna run the ball. Like, you walk away up 21-3 at halftime if you don't get that long Montreal run. Because even after the long Montreal run, 34 yards on the ground, up the middle, great run by Montreal. He bounced it out. It was a great run. It was. However, it was a conservative play call that just ended up becoming a good play. Then you come in and run QB blast right up the middle, which I will say after the QB blast, it was kind of fun to see DJ Lagway and Jake Slaughter talking trash to one of the UCF defensive linemen. That was really fun to see. Then you've got like 15 to 20 seconds left. Then you run I don't even know if it was a screen or just like a weird little check down to Montreal, who picks up a first down. That was a terrible call. Okay? That was a terrible call by Florida, or not a terrible call, but a terrible in the sense of way too conservative call. Because if Montreal doesn't catch and run and pick up that first down, time's running out, and instead you get there with 7 seconds left, you clock it, And then you go, like, you had no timeouts left. That's why you had to clock it, right? So if Montreal doesn't pick up a first down on that little rinky-dink play call you had, then that's no point there. That's no point there. And that was kind of the point where I went, all right, we're going back to what Billy does. I will say this. There were some things I've talked about during the bye week and this week. But also, I see people in the chat. If you're new here, you'll learn. We'll get to you in the second half of this, which won't be too long. There's really not a lot to say. Florida had the ball, 4 times in the second half because they ended kneeling and everything. So 4 times in the second half, 3 actual drives. 1 was a missed field goal there. But it was just that last drive before halftime was kind of where I was like, okay, like we're getting conservative Billy here. The first few drives, we talked about things this past week and the week prior during the bye week leading up to this game of things I wanted to see. Billy Napier did listen to some of them. I'm mad. Sorry, someone said, I'm mad Aiden Mizell didn't play. Why? Aiden Mizell was in a walking boot after the Mississippi State game. So we don't know the exact injury. We'll probably get an update this week. But Aiden Mizell didn't play because he was banged up. But we talked about some things like specifically using tight ends as sniffers, which is bring them in motion, snap it while they're in motion, and run behind them. We saw the first 2 plays of the game, they did that behind Hayden Hansen. We saw some things with the offense go pretty well, and some things look pretty good. I said this, I think, in week 1 or even maybe early in the season, but like prior to the season. I was like, Elijah Badger could be the 1,000-yard receiver. Still could be, especially if we're in games where you're not leading by 3 touchdowns and just essentially deciding, hey, we're going to run it every down. Things like that. I think that, how do I put this lightly? I freaking hate the play calling when DJ Lagway's in there. I loved the first play, the first Lagway ball to Chim Dike. It was fade smash. If you look at that left side, they had the one corner out there. Whoever was the far receiver on the left ran a curl. The slot receiver ran a fade over him. That's fade smash. And it worked beautifully. The second half, them deciding to just run the ball, like run QB sweep and everything with DJ Lagway, I don't get it because he's taking so many unnecessary hits. Okay? Someone that just said, did this save Billy's job? Hell no. Hell no. With a capital, hell no. That's what it did. But this was just, it was like a good game for Florida. The first half was good. This is Tennessee from last year, right? Tennessee last year, Florida came out, just beat the brakes off them in the first half, and then in the second half completely took their foot off the gas. That's what Billy Napier is going to do. By the way, Billy Napier getting an unsportsmanlike conduct call. Where the hell did that come from? Like, I love it, but where the hell did that come from? Is he just like, oh, I'm going to get fired. I need to show my next place that I've got fire on the sideline here. I don't know what the hell that was. I was more of a fan of the running back split this week. Montreal finished with 10 carries. Jaden Ball finished with 9. Jacoby needs the ball more. Scored a touchdown, but Jacoby needs the ball more, especially in a game where Trayon Webb's not there. Thought that would have been a good move there. Tank Hawkins got the football a lot. Tank Hawkins finally, when Tank committed to Florida, we started talking about this, and it's finally happening, of using him in that little Trey Wilson role. Just pop pass underneath, screen to the side, let people run, fun things. I think that Florida had quite a few injuries that they overcame. That was absolutely true. You look at, they didn't have Tony Livingston, who became one of the starting tight ends. They didn't have Aiden Mizell, who's a speed demon. They didn't have Trey Wilson. They didn't have Trayon Webb. Defense looked pretty good at times. I liked some of the things. They felt more physical and poppy than usual. But this is also one of those games where I look at it and I say, yeah, Florida looked a lot better, but UCF also looked horrible. Like, both things can be true. UCF looked horrendous. I don't understand why KJ Jefferson is still the starting quarterback. Holy crap. I don't get that at all. Like, Jakari Brown can't be worse than that, right? Jakari Brown can't be worse than what KJ Jefferson is doing out there. I refuse to believe that. Like, I refuse to accept that as an actual fact. KJ Jefferson finished 12 for 22 with 165 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick at the end to Bryce Thornton, who Bryce Thornton balled out. Bryce Thornton played a damn good football game. He had the pass breakup on the first drive against Randy Pittman Jr., the tight end for UCF. So he had a great stop there. Looked like he was in his bag a little bit. Arkansas is up 19-14 over Tennessee. And we are going to hit I see people in the chat. I see you talking. We're okay. Also, I wanted to talk about this for a second. Danny Rochelle said, what about that block by Ball in pass protection? Ooh. Oh, boy. Oh, I tweeted it out. I was like, holy, what a pass pro rep by Jaden Ball. He read the blitz, stepped up, and put him like upright. A hell of a pass pro rep. And if you've been here before, you know, we love running backs in pass protection here. I don't think Florida's the reason that UCF looked so bad, because KJ Jefferson looked like he was playing poorly, even if there were no defenders out there. We are about to get to the chat for the rest of today. And hopefully, when we're done with this show, Arkansas would have beaten Tennessee, which, Lito, you're going to be getting some DMs from me if they lost that game. We'll talk about everything. You was S-ing on UF on that SEC show. Sorry, before we get to the ad break, and someone saying, you were S-ing on, Sugar Honey Ice Team on UF on that SEC show. Florida's still not a good football team. Okay. I want to get that clear. Great job winning the game 3-2. That's a good start. You've made some progress, but let's not pretend that all of a sudden this is a great Florida Gators football team. Okay. Let's not lie to ourselves and set ourselves up for disappointment. All right. We'll talk more about that next on Locked On Gators. Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic, okay? Right there. Bang. There you go. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. But here's how it works. When you're going to drink, alcohol gets converted, or when you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. And as you get older, those days get rougher. Okay, trust. I was like, oh, that's not going to happen to me. It has happened to me. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. So here's how you use it, okay? You drink your pre-alcohol right here, okay? Make it your first drink of the night. Drink plenty of water. Drink whatever you're going to drink, and then you can wake up feeling not like crap. Okay, so go to zbiotics.com/LockedOnCollege to learn more and to get 15% off your first order when you use Locked On College at checkout. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/LockedOnCollege. Use code LockedOnCollege at checkout for 15% off. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual of Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash, receive unlimited 1% deposit bonuses, and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth, and these generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. New gold standards here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day, every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. I am Brandon Olsen. Once again, I know this season sucks for a lot of us. I hope you know. I look forward to these little therapy sessions more than I look forward to actual games at this point. Sometimes. But we will talk more about this game. We're going to get to the chat for the rest of the day. I saw someone said Nico just threw a seed downfield. The urge to not react to that during the Robin Hood read, I'm not going to lie to you. It happened during the Robin Hood read, and I was like, holy but again, we got to be live here. And Nico is throwing that one. Okay, incompletion. We got 4th and 5 coming up. 6 seconds left. Tennessee, that Mickey Mouse offense isn't doing too great. I'm just saying. We're gonna hit the chat here just to get through it. Just to get through what everybody's saying here. Defense was fun. That's one of the things that's kind of got me torn about things. I feel like there were certain plays where the defense just made great plays. The 4th and 1 with Jack Pyburn with the stop. The RJ Moten blitz, or the RJ Moten sack, sorry. There were some other plays where it just felt like Florida was making great plays. Sharif Denson with the stop on, I can't remember who was 3rd or 4th down, but Sharif Denson just getting gritty, making the stop. By the way, I said this to the Locked On Gators insiders, which again, links in the description below. Sharif Denson, I think, is reminding me of Devin Witherspoon in the slot, just with his aggressive attitude. It's incredible. I love it. He's, I think, my favorite defender right now. I can't get over it. I think he's a tremendous football player. Napier still sucks. How do you not score a single point in the entire second half versus that terrible defense? Like I said, I think that Florida dominated this game, but I think they dominated this game by playing an average to above average game for what they usually do. And UCF played terrible. That's where I stand on that one. Still need to clean up the penalties. Yeah, I mean, this team is just plagued with penalties. Florida had 8 penalties for 64 yards. UCF had 6 for 39. Horrible. I know there were people complaining about the Damian George false start. That was a false start. I have no problem. He moved his hand, and that's enough to make a defender jump. That's another part. They didn't call anything until the defender moved. If you make a movement that causes there's no way that's just how that game ended. That's nuts. Tennessee just lost with Nico scrambling. Okay. As an offensive lineman, also Cal's beating Miami 14-7. What the hell? If you make a movement as an offensive lineman and that causes a defender to react and jump off sides, then that is a false start. That's how that works. So that's exactly what happened there. Send Central Knight home with an L. Finally, a decent game from both sides. Brandon, me and you should pick Gators to lose more often. Like that's what, like, everybody's like, oh, you picked Florida to lose. You're not a real fan. Here's the thing. I will always, every single day until I die, want Florida to win. They will lose games regardless of whether or not I want them to win. They will lose games regardless of whether or not I think they will win. I'm glad that, like, this is one of those things where I go, oh, because again, I came up covering the NFL draft. If I'm covering a prospect and I go, oh, I don't think he's going to be good, I'm so happy to be wrong. Like, I want every player to succeed and every player to work out. So I'm so happy being wrong. Not an issue for me at all. We are going to wrap up here in a couple minutes just because Billy Napier's press conference is starting, and I want to hear a lot of that. Mertz is not doing this offense any favor. He cannot throw downfield. He definitely isn't awesome, but he's made some plays. Boring Billy. I couldn't have been more bored in the second half. He just tries to run the whole half. Yeah, the moment he was up, it was like, all right, he's gonna choke this one away. Pyburn had a great game. Like, I know that a lot of people kind of don't like him for whatever reason. He played a pretty good game. He's been a pretty good football player this whole season. He is not one of the players where I'm like, yeah, I don't need to see more of him. There were a couple things that just didn't make when Shamar's pass interference, I don't fault him for that at all. That ball was almost completely off the paint at that point on the sideline, and they called it. It made no sense to me. Jason Marshall is balling right now. Like, he's a dude right now. I don't know what the hell got into him this offseason, but he is playing like a dude right now. There were quite a few poppy plays from guys. There were quite a few big plays from people. Chim DK balled out. Montrell looked healthy. I'll say that. Montrell Johnson, I know a lot of people, myself included, have given him a lot of criticism and critiques this week or this season. He looked healthy today. We saw pin pull come back, which we hadn't seen much of since the 71-yard touchdown against Miami. Tennessee's QB ran out of bounds. Yeah, I don't know what the hell he was thinking. I don't. That makes no sense to me. They backed into a win tonight. Nothing changes for Napier. Yeah, that's another thing. Before we wrap this up, nothing changes for Billy Napier here. Okay, he is still not the guy. And we can celebrate victories and we can acknowledge improvement because this team improved. They played with more fire. Billy Napier had more fire. We can acknowledge all of these things while still saying he's still got to go. So yeah, nothing changes there. Defense got some sacks tonight. They did, but again, I feel like some of it was KJ holding the ball too long. Things like that. 12 still cannot tackle. Yeah, I don't know what the hell the announcers. I don't know what 12 the announcers are watching when they're like, oh yeah, he's had a really terrific few weeks. I don't know what the hell that was about. Why do we keep playing 29 on defense? He caused that TD. I'm assuming, yeah, the RJ Harvey touchdown. That DJ Douglas missed 3 people missed tackles on that play. I'm not faulting any individual. I'm faulting team defense and those individuals, but it's not that one specific player caused that. Edge didn't contain, or Edge didn't come down and crash. DJ Douglas missed a tackle, and then there was another missed tackle. Like, I'm not faulting one specific guy for that. Simple as that. But Florida Gators are 3-2. Still a hell of a schedule remaining. Tennessee has just fallen. Florida's looked pretty good against them, despite being outmatched talent-wise. Hey, Florida Gators could do it. I'm not going to say I'm getting my hopes up. I'm not going to say I'm expecting it, but they could do it. But you know what else? And I say this a lot, but it will never be anything other than completely genuine. Thank you so much for just allowing me to talk about the program that I love, my favorite university, my favorite football team. Through thick and thin, thank you for allowing me this opportunity, and thank you for coming to join and talking, and whether you agree or disagree, just spending time with us. Thank you so much. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI.com, and I'll see you all next time.